Hello and welcome back to Up the Villa podcast. If you're new to our channel, subscribe, drop this video a like and drop your thoughts. Get involved in the comment section down below on Newcastle 3, Aston Villa 3. So, night owls amongst us. We were up until around 2 o'clock this morning watching Aston Villa in America, and it was a thoroughly enjoyable game and live stream. So many of you stuck till the end, which was just absolutely mental, to be fair, how many of you were watching towards the end. So fair play to every single one of you. But yeah, Newcastle 3, Villa 3, just like the summer series has gone so far, thoroughly enjoyable, really good game. I really enjoyed watching it. Nice to have Villa back against good opposition as well, you know, not just friendlies against teams that have got no relevance to Aston Villa whatsoever. So it was a really, really good workout. Strong lineup from Villa to start with, and for Newcastle, Villa had Kamara, Louise, Watkins, Buendia, McGinn, Mings, Konsa, Cash, Luke Dean, Martinez, etc. So with Philogene as well in the lineup as well. So it was a strong Villa lineup. And I've got to say, we absolutely started like prime Barcelona, tiki-taka, prime Brazil, explosive, so explosive in that first 20 minutes. It was absolutely eye-opening, really, for a friendly. But yeah, we were fantastic. I mean, I know that it's pre-season and the results really don't really mean much, but we were good. We were really good. First goal, McGinn was, and I've thought about this of Tonali of Newcastle, is how is he physically going to adapt to the Premier League? And for the first two goals, I would say not very well. McGinn bumped Tonali off the ball, and it was Buendia that bumped Tonali off the ball, first of all. So first one, Buendia bumped Tonali off the ball. Really strong from Buendia it was for that first goal. Found Watkins. Great finish from Watkins. Nice little sort of like pass kind of type finish. And it was 1-0 to Aston Villa. We then went on the attack again. It was McGinn on Tonali. Found Buendia, who took this nice little touch that sort of just cushioned him and set him up. And it was 2-0 to Aston Villa, and we were absolutely flying at that point. We was playing some really, really good football. Bidace had a cross that went across sort of like the penalty area and just avoided Ollie Watkins. And then as the first half grew, as Newcastle grew into it, Villa sort of just faded a little bit. We sort of faded in that first half. There was a through ball and it went over the top. The Villa defence tried to sort of step out. Cash stepped out and Anderson was onside, and it was 2-1 to Newcastle. So you'll find the tail of this in a second. And then just towards the end of the second half, Kamara was dwelling on the ball. It was dispossessed, and they scored again to make it 2-2. And then Villa came out in the second half, again like an absolute steam train. It was Bidace who found Kellyman, who had a shot that hit the post, and then Buendia was able to tuck that one away. So it was 3-2 to Villa. And then another crossfield ball over the top, found, I think it was Gordon, and Wilson stuck it away for 3-3. So sort of like the tail of the game was we looked quite good in possession of the ball. Individual errors were costing Villa quite a lot in that game. Cash was dwelling on the ball, Kamara a couple of times. So I'd rather that happen now than in the main sort of bulk of the season. Olsen's distribution is absolutely atrocious. I know it's a pre-season game, but I've made my mind up on Olsen's distribution. Olsen has got to go. He fundamentally cannot play the way we want to play, possession-based football. His kicking was just terrible. There was one where he was so chilled. He tried to find, it must have been left back, so it would have been Luca Dean or somebody, and it just went straight to a Newcastle player. They broke on us, and luckily they didn't score. So Olsen's distribution is terrible. But then I have to say, his shot stopping was brilliant last night. His shot stopping was great. I've got no qualms about his shot stopping ability. It's just with the ball at his feet. And, you know, if there is an injury to Martinez, he stops how we play because he can't do it. So we definitely need to be in the market for another goalkeeper. Cash had a bit of an offish game. He looked off it, I think. So, again, he's got to get more minutes. He's got to get more sharpness. But interesting that he's been one of the ones that have been in and around the camp from day one. So Cash looked off it for me. Luca Dean looked okay. But again, you know, it's pre-season, so we'll give him that. Buendia looked really, really sharp for his goal. And his awareness was good. Good to have McGinn back. We think we first saw in the first half what McGinn was all about. And long-standing viewers of last season and this season will know we've picked one player who is going to be our player that we on this podcast really root for and hope does really well. And I think Amari Kellyman announced himself amongst Villa fans last night, this morning, because he came on and he was absolutely fantastic. His touch, his turning, he was head up, knew where he wanted to pass the ball. He shot from the edge of the box that set up the Buendia second goal was brilliant. You know, he was great in this game. What I would say about this game as well, for about 25 minutes in that second half, Newcastle had got they've got Harvey Barnes on, they've got Wilson on, they've got a lot of their top players, and we'd got Archer, we'd got Ramsey, we'd got Revan, we'd got Kellyman. Tielemans was on, partnering. I think it would have been Louise, mate, Kamara or Louise in the middle. So our side was very, very youthful, and it held its own for about 25 minutes to keep the game 3-3. So fair play to those youngsters. Philogene as well looked so exciting and pacey and vibrant. So Kellyman is one to watch for the future, in my opinion. I think he's having a great pre-season, but he's still so young and he's still one for the future. But Philogene Bidace, he was fantastic in that first half. Pace, power, attacking intent. He was everywhere. He was vibrant. He was pressing well. He was pressing outside to inside really well as well. So Philogene, he's the one that I think is doing really well. He's going to stick around. Kellyman is doing really well, but will still have to grow and be nurtured. But yeah, Philogene was absolutely fantastic in this game. So again, it's another good game from him. Hopefully he's impressed Unai as well, because he's definitely impressed us and a lot of Villa fans. Pau Torres made his Villa debut. Was good, was decent with the ball. One thing that I noticed that he did twice very, very good is he stepped out from centre-back and engaged into midfield. And he did that twice, and he won that ball back twice. So he had a really good game in that sense. Carlos was okay. I think he had one mare, and then he made a beautiful ball into Buendia, which then went to Philogene. Kellyman hit the post, and then Buendia scored. So that was a really good thing that he did as well. His vision of Carlos was, you know, those passes into midfield. And Pau Torres made a couple of passes into midfield as well. And they were sort of like attacking passes where they were sort of like hit quite hard into sort of like a forward. And we was able to get the ball turned and transition on the attack. So some really, really bright moments. It was great to see Tielemans. He looked calm, assured. He made a really last-ditch sort of tackle, so his awareness was great. So all in all, it was a really, really good game. It was a good, open, attacking game. Both teams did things quite well. I think our high line is going to have to be looked at and just worked and just tweaked, because we know last season that we were celebrating when we were playing teams offside. So it shows how good we are at playing that style. So I think the fact that they scored 2 goals from balls over the top means that they've timed it well and the offside trap has been beaten, but there was no VAR. So I don't know how close they were to being offside, whether they would or whether they wouldn't. We know we were on that line. So those 2 balls over the top were areas of concern, but we know we can play it. We know we can do it really well. So I'd rather that happen in pre-season than happen in the real season. Well, the real season, whatever you call it, Premier League campaign. So we've got news that Diaby will be back on Wednesday. So he'll be featuring on Wednesday. Coutinho will be featuring on Wednesday. Sanson looks set to leave the club. So I just thought I'd do a mini roundup for the guys that haven't watched the game and want to sort of get my thoughts on it. So there we go. Really, really good game. Enjoyed it. Great to be back. Up the Villa.